So every once in a while, I find myself digging through old boxes in storage. They're full of photographs, sketchbooks, and little pieces of my past that I haven't looked at in years. On this particular day, I came across some old graffiti photos from back in the day, and one picture turned into another. And before I knew it, I was watching old graffiti videos that really spoke out to me, reliving a part of my life that helped me shape me as an artist. I love graffiti. I don't regret anything that I've done, and I love the fact that it was a part of my life for so long. It's funny how inspiration works. Sometimes all it takes is one memory to bring you right back to that moment where it all started. So I grabbed an old sketchbook and decided to do something I hadn't done in a while. I was a little rusty, but I guess that was part of the fun. I wanted to paint my oldest son's name, Nate. As much as my career has evolved throughout tattooing and painting, graffiti was one of the first things that truly taught me about letters, composition, color, and it really brought out my confidence. To this day, I still believe that strong line work is everything. I even translate that into my tattoo work. You can have the wildest ideas in the world, but if your lines aren't solid, the whole piece falls apart. I've always appreciated wild style graffiti, but my heart has always leaned towards letters that are bold, clean, and very legible. Letters that really jump off the wall. And for this piece, I kept it simple: a fine point sharpie for the structure, and an ultra fine sharpie to tighten everything up. I also picked up a set of alcohol markers, and honestly, this felt like the perfect project to break them in. People always ask how I choose my colors, and I don't really overthink it. I just grab colors that feel right to me. I trust my instincts. Sometimes the best combinations are the ones you never planned. And in graffiti, I always just kind of saw whatever cans I had and I just kind of rolled with it, creating contrast constantly. Growing up in Miami, in the graffiti scene in the 90s and early 2000s, had a huge influence on me. There was something different about it: bright colors, those Miami Vice vibes, hot pinks, turquoises, yellows, blues. It wasn't always, to have the craziest letters. It was to make them feel alive and make them impossible to ignore. That energy never really left me. Even today, when I paint, I still find myself reaching for those same bold colors because they remind me of where I came from. Sometimes creating something for the people you love matters more than creating something perfect. And one day, I hope my son flips through the sketchbook and maybe he'll laugh at how old school it looks, or maybe he'll think it's corny, but I don't really care. I think it's great that I'm just thinking about him and wanting to create this piece for him. Everything is done with intention. And behind every piece of artwork that I've made, it's always had some sort of love for my family. Drawing this piece really made me reflect back on a lot of the memories I've made and a lot of the adventures I had with graffiti, which really made a huge impact in my life. I love the memories I've made and the crazy stories I have about it, and even the people I still talk to today that are still involved in that culture. I respect greatly, and I, love everything that they do. And it's nice to see artists evolve into other things as well. But I definitely believe that graffiti was a moment in time for me. And I'm glad that I was a part of it when I actually was heavy into it. At this point in the piece, I'm just kind of experimenting with colors and working on what we would call the fill-ins, the fills. And that's something that we were really known for in Miami. We never really had the craziest letters, but we would have this ability to put colors together and do these designs inside the letters that really stood out. At least in that time, I never really saw anybody else from across the country doing that type of graffiti. I remember looking through old graffiti pictures and graffiti magazines, and it was really cool at that time because everybody had their own style. You had like the New York style, the Miami style, ATL, and obviously like the West Coast style. And everybody was different. So you kind of looked forward to seeing what other artists were doing, and you respected it greatly. With the post internet era, it felt like everybody kind of meshed in together. And I blame that on accessibility. The moment you have too much accessibility, you kind of have too much influence on your style. Instead of it being regional, I guess it becomes national, and you kind of pick and choose whatever style you like. But it was really nice to have a more local style that represented you and represented your city. I decided to break out my Prismacolor pencils and just grab a couple of colors and throw some blends in there so it doesn't look so flat. I added some drop shadows as well as a lot of heavy white highlights. And I think that really made the piece start coming to life. Now, if you guys want to try this at home, this isn't really a video that's going to teach you about letter styles, because that's a whole another video and a lot of years of experience to really master. But graffiti should be fun. There are so many different styles out there, and the point is to really develop your own style and realistically just love what you do. Have fun with the letters, have fun with the colors. It's one of the most free art forms that I personally have ever experienced, because there is no handbook to it. There is nobody really teaching you exactly how it's supposed to be, because there isn't a real way that it's supposed to be, in my opinion. I've seen so many different styles of letters and so many different variations of colorways and the way people use them, and even down to the way they sign their names, and I think that's a very beautiful thing of graffiti, because or should I say the beautiful thing about graffiti, because I feel that the individuality of it, the originality of it is incredible amongst the artists of the world. The final step here was just the white highlights, and I feel that they really made the piece pop. I think I should have gone a little bit thicker with them, but I was still content with the way they came out. Ultimately, I decided to leave a little message for my son, just in case if one day he decides to go through my old sketchbooks and finds this piece with his name on it. I think it would be a cool find, and hopefully he likes it. So if you've made it this far through the video, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the process of painting this piece, and I hope you possibly took something from it. If you like this type of content, feel free to follow, and thanks again for watching. Peace.